the Savvy Investor's Guide.
Welcome back to the Market Watch. We have with us today Sharan Pant, Managing Director, Nielsen Lanka, to discuss about the current consumer and retail trends in Sri Lanka. Welcome to the show, Sharan. Let me first ask you, what is the level of the business confidence in Sri Lanka right now?
So Pasindu, the trends are moving in two different directions. On one end, on the external front, where we are seeing some positive movements on exports or on tourism inflow. On the other side, we are seeing some pressure on the macroeconomic factors locally. For example, the interest rates are still high, the inflation has started moving up, which is putting up a big pressure on the cost of doing businesses for the leaders. As a result, we've been witnessing a drop in the business confidence index. So that's to do with the local front. Obviously, there's some impact coming in from the international happenings around the trade war between China and the US, which is having some sort of an impact on the local business confidence as well. So on the business front, as I said, the confidence is down. On the consumer front, we've seen a clear correlation between the inflation levels and the consumer confidence. In the last 4 or 6 quarters, we have seen inflation increasing steadily. As a result, the consumer confidence has kept dipping. And the fact that the personal income tax rates were increased in April 2018, plus there have been 2 rounds of fuel price increase, has not helped, and consumer confidence has dipped further.
Any new trends can you identify, Sharan, in terms of the consumption and the retail sector in Sri Lanka right now?
Yeah. So for the last 6 quarters, we've basically seen the FMCG consumption dipping significantly. Again, it aligns with the rise in inflation or rise in prices of commodities. What we've seen is the biggest contributor to the recent drop in consumption is basically the sugar tax, which impacted carbonated soft drinks. So prices went up almost 30% in these categories, and as a result, consumption dropped significantly. So that's impacting food and beverages. On the other hand, whether it's personal care or household care, again, as the prices went up, consumption dipped. At a total level, in the latest quarter, which is April-June 2018, we saw consumption declining almost 15% compared to the same quarter last year. The good news is that prices are now stabilizing. As a result, there is some bit of a rebound between personal care and home care. However, that rebound is not yet seen in food and beverage categories. If the prices stabilize, we hope the consumption levels will improve in these categories. That is what we are seeing in the FMCG consumption as of now.
In terms of the global context, do you see any new trends being developing and which will affect to this part of the world as well?
So Sri Lanka typically follows trends from the developing markets, whether it's Southeast Asia or some of the Pacific markets. What we see in these two markets are 2 major trends which are emerging. These are not new. In the last couple of years, these trends have come in. One is a clear movement towards convenience, whether it's convenience offered by products like ready-to-eat food, or it's convenience in the form of retailing, so modern trade or e-commerce. That's growing pretty fast in these markets, including neighboring markets like India. When I talk about modern trade, it's not like the developed world where large format stores are doing well, say hypermarkets. In the developing countries, we are seeing these small format stores or the convenience stores which are growing faster, which is what we are seeing in Sri Lanka as well. Take any of the 2 large retailers, the store expansion that they are doing is in these small format stores, which are basically offering convenience near to your house. That's one trend. The other trend we are seeing is there is increasing awareness about health and wellness, about the ill effects of obesity, and therefore there is a conscious move towards health and wellness products. What we are seeing in the developing world is consumers are becoming conscious about the ingredients or the contents of food and products, whether it's sugar or whether it's to do with saturated fats, and therefore they're asking for ingredients to be labeled on the product and warnings to be provided on the product packaging. We saw some of that coming to Sri Lanka as well in the form of traffic light system on the carbonated soft drinks. We expect more of this to happen in the future, and there is some bit of a learning for marketeers to either innovate or manage their packaging in order to connote the health and wellness aspects in the products that they are offering. So convenience and health and wellness, these are the two large trends which we expect to impact Sri Lankan consumption as well in the future.
And I heard the urbanization and the aging population has also become one of the few factors affecting the consumption trends. And how does it look like now maybe in Sri Lanka right now?
Yeah. So Sri Lanka is a bit unique when it comes to urbanization. Though almost 70–80% of our population is classified as rural, if we go to these places, these are more like semi-urban than rural. Whereas in neighboring markets, there's a clear distinction or a differentiation between urban and rural. So what it means to us is if we look at the kind of infrastructure development happening in the semi-urban or the rural areas, it will mean more and more modern retail format stores opening over there. It will mean better access to products and services for the rural population, and it will therefore change their consumption habits. The other point you mentioned about aging population. So if we look at Sri Lanka as a country and our median age, we are already above the global average, which basically means there is an aging population over here. Dependence on earning individuals will increase in the near future. The fact that more and more families are becoming smaller in size with just one or at the most two children will again impact this whole population pyramid, if not now, in the next 10 to 15 years. What it means to consumption and opportunities for marketeers is different kind of products will evolve for the aging population. I mean, just to give you an example from a very different category altogether. Diapers as a category in Sri Lanka, the demand for adult diapers is more than the children diaper, the baby diapers, because our birth rate is declining, but our aging population is going up, which is very different from any other emerging market like Bangladesh or India, where the population is huge and the demand for baby diapers is still higher than adult diaper. So that's just one example to give to you.
If I ask you finally, what would be your expectation in terms of the consumption for the next few quarters?
We still expect the consumption to be under pressure, again to do with inflation and some of the taxes. But what we need to understand why the policymakers are doing or making these changes to the policy. The need of the hour is fiscal consolidation, improving the balance of trade for the country, and therefore these policies are for the good of the country. It's up to businesses and consumers to realize this fact and have some patience and hold on. If everything goes well, if we are moving closer to the election year of 2020, we expect some beneficial policies to be announced which should reflect in a consumption revival. So if not now, maybe early part of 2019 or second half of 2019 is when we expect consumption to move up once again.
Right. Thank you so much, Sharan. That's Sharan Pant, Managing Director, Nielsen Lanka. Thank you so much for joining us, viewers. Hope you had a good session and hope to see you next time with Market Watch. Bye-bye.